power is devolved to the states. What he condemns in Kano will not happen in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. The gentleman here, please. Okay. Another mic. We need more than one mic moving around, please. Huh? It's taking too long. Amala Mohamed Isa is here representing the Senate President. Thank you very much for coming. Yes.
Thank you very much, Gadaria, with your dictatorial tactics.
Sorry.
Nazifi Abdullahi Dharma is my name. I'm a professor of development economics, University of Abuja. My question goes to Professor Tahir Jega, and I think we need to clarify this issue very well, sir. In the last couple of years, attempts have been made to make constitutional amendment and changes that will institutionalize good governance at the state level, particularly devolving financial autonomy to the local governments and financial autonomy for state legislatures and judiciary. Unfortunately, the same individuals that control power, particularly at the state assemblies, thwarted this process. And everybody is talking about transferring or devolving more power and resources to the state level. We know in the last 21 years or 22 years after return of democracy, trillions of dollars have been transferred to the states in terms of allocation from the federation account. But if you look at the trajectory of developmental indices, there is simply no commensurate development in most of the states relative to the financial resources given to them. The question, sir, is, and not only to you, and in Onwodo and Iowa Debanjo, how can we, with all honesty, in the existing circumstance, institutionalize good governance and provide a basis for the emergence of quality and good leadership at all tiers of government, particularly at the grassroots level, to commensurate with the developmental aspirations of a new Nigeria.
Please give the mic to the gentleman behind you. Thank you.
Kamal Bello is my name. With respect to my teacher, Professor of Political Science as well. Mine is simple because I've written and I've talked a lot about restructuring. But I just want to appeal to we the elites, either in the academia, in politics, in religion, because one of the panelists said, we are the molders of opinion of majority. Majority listening to what we say. Let us know what we are saying. Why do I say this? If everything we're asking for about the restructuring affects the Constitution. And the Constitution can never be amended except by the legislative arm of government. It's stated clear there in the Constitution. Amendment of any Constitution is done by the legislature at the state and federal level. Let us try as elites. We are still young, 50 years plus, 60, 70 are here, close to 80. We that we are even 50s, we are ashamed of ourselves that we cannot put our heads together to change this country and solve one problem since independence. We are only going forth and back. All what we are asking for, they are simple things. Without integrity, without commitment, exclusive list is there, concurrent list is there, residual lists are there. We have enough work at the local, state, and federal level.
You need to wrap up.
13% reservation is given to some states.
You need to wrap up.
So whereby some states are collecting more allocation than even some other 6 states, and yet they cannot pay salary. Those are issues. Those are the national questions.
Sir, you need to wrap up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm not somebody to collect. That's why I continue to vibrate.
No. Okay, let's just wait a little and come back to the panel. The question regarding revolution.
Yes, Madam Dikko, yes. You see, it is not just restructuring that you need to make governance viable. Irrespective of the structure that you have, there are certain ingredients that are sine qua non for good governance. If you ask me today, we don't have real democracy in our country. We do not have real democracy because of the following factors. The political parties are like limited liability companies. owned by the governing structure. You cannot become a councillor in any state unless the governor supports you. The primaries for the elections are just complete waste of time. The people are already known before the primaries are held. The governors are chosen by the incumbent governor. He chooses a successor. And the people wait for him to say, this is his successor. And the last man who just spoke, you know, don't kick the problem to anybody else. You and I can make a change. It begins with each one of us. If you are prepared to stand up and say, this is wrong. One of the last things I learned from the NSAS movement is that this country can be changed. Forget about the fact that they were infiltrated by miscreants who overthrew law and order, but the germane of their demands, unbundling of the power sector, unbundling of the oil sector, sanitizing participants in the political structure, that will turn everything around and bring us to life more abundance by fidelity of purpose if you are in government. But if you are in government just to enrich yourself, to aggrandize for your ethnic place, that's absolute nonsense. I was Shehu Shagari's special assistant as well as minister. I ate with him on the same table with his son Bala. I went to his bedroom to bring his files. I was treated like his own son. And I gave him loyalty that I gave to my father because of the way he behaved towards me. It is doable and it is possible.
Thank you very much, Professor Jega.
Thank you very much. It is possible, and I agree with Chief Nwodo, it's possible to bring about good governance in this country, and it may be difficult, and the perception of that difficulty may be what will immobilize some people to fatalistic resignation, as if things cannot change. You know, but it's very, very important to recognize that things can change, and they can only change if we all act the right way. And unfortunately, in Nigeria, we have developed a tendency, whether at the elite or peer group levels, to just sit and agonize over our problems, rather than organize in terms of how these problems can be addressed. You know, so as far as I'm concerned, I've spoken earlier on about restructuring has to be combined with reforms in governance and the need for elite consensus. And elite consensus is not just significant at the level of national politics. It's also important and significant at the level of state and local politics. If groupings of people who have the right ideas, the right energy, and the resilience to push these good ideas get together, they can make things happen. Part of the problem we have in addressing particularly the issue of restructuring is the way we all advocate for it and push for it. You know, it's either all or nothing. And we've seen the experience of the National Assembly. Once you want to do a wholesale constitutional amendment, it will never happen. You know, you want to create new states. You want to devolve powers and responsibility. You want to reform the judiciary. You want to do everything at the same time within a legislative calendar. It's impossible. So the best way to proceed, yes, there are problems. Yes, we are angry with all these problems, and we need solutions to these problems. And we should be prepared to address these problems. Let us pursue an agenda of what I call incremental positive changes. You know, right now we have wasted 20 years and haven't done anything. But if in those 20 years we have agreed that at every legislative period, 4-year period, we are going to address 2 or 3 things in this constitution, and we have elite consensus, Afenifere, Arewa Consultative Forum, an essay. You develop a consensus on a particular issue, and you mobilize and you go to the National Assembly. You will get a lot of things done, and you can get many other people involved to get this.
Let me just bring back Chief Nwodo here quickly before I call on Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed to talk about a few things. This idea of breaking the problem into bite size and trying to deal with it. Is that, in your view, feasible, given the fact that, as far as you are concerned, we're operating an illegal constitution and nothing we can do can actually work because of that framework?
Well, you see, there is something that is called the ground norm in politics as well as in law. You cannot build on quicksand. If something is illegal and wrong, you can't build on it.
Okay, so given the
basis
limitations
of
we
a
pointed out...
Can I say something,
No, I know,
madam?
sir. I just wanted you to clarify.
But you don't want to hear me.
No, sir. I am trying to make it easy.
I'm very
because
kind
of
to
time.
women, and I don't like to be impolite to them.
Sir, please just hear me. You will like the question. I promise.
And you too.
What I'm trying to say is, somebody raised the issue that some of these reforms under the current structure are only possible with a National Assembly that is clearly not interested in doing the sort of whole-scale reform. So in practical terms, this solution that you are proposing, how would we do it?
Look, the military came here. We had a National Assembly that had a 1960 and 63 constitution. 49 people selected to write a constitution, wrote a constitution. 40 people in the Supreme Military Council promulgated a constitution for us. Under General Abubakar, government in which I served, I was in Executive Council. I never saw the draft constitution. And I was Minister of Information. It was my responsibility to publicize it to the country. On the day of swearing in of Obasanjo, we didn't have a copy of the constitution. I didn't know who was printing it. And my ministry was supposed to pay for the printing. And Obasanjo was sworn on a constitution that had not been read by anyone. And the National Assembly could not be constituted until 4 days after his swearing in, because there was no clean copy of the constitution. You cannot build on quicksand. And the country cannot live on falsehood. The owners of the country, as represented by their leaders in the social-cultural groups that formed a desire to be one country, have to be constituted into the kind of conference that President Jonathan summoned. They have the legal authority to speak on behalf of their various people, that we want to be part of one country on the basis of the following rules. Unless we revisit that abnormality and historical abnormality, we will never have the ground norm. We will never have a constitution that conjures the loyalty of the people. A friend of mine told me that if Nigeria was his wife being raped by 10 people, he will pass as if there's nothing. That is the ebb of patriotism now. I want to fight for a country that I believe in. I want to go to Kara Namuda and build a house and feel that I come from the Southeast. There is nobody outside the Southeast who owns a hospital there, a school, or whatever of economic investment. Every Igbo man has an investment in every part of Nigeria. That is the extent of my patriotism. And I want to see that in every Nigerian. That's what makes a country thrive.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Yes.
I need to...
Just quickly, sir, so we can, yeah.
The difficulty...
You need to use the mic, sir.
Well, you see, constitutions are product of historical and political dynamics, and they can never be perfect. If we didn't have a constitution enacted by a military regime, we would not have transited to democratic system of governance in 1999. So it's an imperfect constitution. How do we improve upon it? How do we make it perfect and desirable for our own progress and development? I do not think, and that is the reason why I wanted to intervene. How do you do that? You are recommending a conference of ethnic nationalities. First of all, there are serious technical problems of the definition of what are nationalities in Nigeria. Secondly, even if we assume that yes, there are ethnic groups, and the Igbos, Yorubas, Hausa, or Hausa Fulani are ethnic groups, how do you choose those to go into that conference that you are proposing? Representation for constitution making are usually, in fact, invariably territorial, not ethnic. So we will be trying to move from one problem and run into another, you know, if we think that the ethnic group will be the foundation of addressing what you perceive to be a quicksand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed, can you, someone please hand him?
Territorial and ethnic are interchangeable.
Okay. Please, can somebody give Dr. Hakim a mic? Yes, sorry. Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed is the Director of Publicity for the Northern Elders Forum. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm grateful for this opportunity, Mr. President. I was going to respond to Chief Adebanjo's comment anyway, even before Kadre, you asked him to clarify. There are two basic problems about Nigeria's understanding about restructuring. One operates at a very low level. We have yielded the debate to social media, to people who really don't understand it. We have weaponized the concept and the practice and the ideal of restructuring. Everybody now uses restructuring as a weapon, usually against each other. And we have destroyed a fantastic vision and an exercise the country must undertake. The second threat comes from people like Chief Adebanjo, who peddles, with all due respect to him, falsehood. Northerners have never opposed anything on the basis of ignorance. When Northerners say we don't understand, it doesn't mean they don't understand. They are idiots. They don't understand. It means they don't like it. And like every Nigerian, we can say we don't like something that is against our own interests. But to say Northerners, every time we go to conference, Northerners say we don't understand, suggests that we are too thick to understand. We understand this country. We were part of the building blocks of Nigeria. We made the same mistakes like everybody. We fixed the same mistakes, and we're willing to do that. Chief Nwodo knows. Chief Adebanjo knows. We have sat with them, and we will continue to sit with them. We have traveled extreme distances to create the kind of elite consensus around the need to fix Nigeria through restructuring. The North completely commits to restructuring without conditionalities. We are willing to engage anybody, anywhere, anytime to discuss restructuring. What we will not accept is a situation where the North is created and made and put on the defensive so that it now agrees to everything else that other parts of the country brings, because that will not accept. We are Nigerians. We think that Nigeria is not working. It's not working for the North. It's not working for anybody. We believe it has to be fixed, and it has to be fixed by all Nigerians on the basis of respect, on the basis of an understanding of what works for all of us. And that is why I wouldn't get involved in these discussions about whether we should maintain the 36-state structure. Let's put Nigeria on the table and find out what it is that works best for all Nigerians. I think that is the way to go. But it is wrong to say the North is opposing, has opposed, or will oppose restructuring. It is misinformation, and it is dangerous, particularly coming from an elder statesman like Chief Adebanjo. It is unfortunate. Thank you.
I think it's only fair that I allow Chief Ayo Adebanjo to just,